Hey everybody, Michael with the Sky's the Limit Aviation channel here. In today's video, I'm going to show you two programs that I use when flying on the VATSIM network. The first one is called vPilot, which is used to connect to the VATSIM network to get your air traffic control. The other program is called VAT-Spy, which gives you a worldwide view of all aircraft flying on the VATSIM network and also shows you which air traffic control centers and airport towers are open for business with live ATC. So settle in your seats and let's get this video started. I wanted to take a quick moment before we get started to thank all of my subscribers. As of right now, it's 177, and I am so appreciative of all of you guys and gals out there who have taken the time to subscribe to my channel, to make comments, to like my videos, to offer up suggestions on how to improve the channel, and ideas for future videos. I really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it. If you just happen to be viewing this video and you're not a channel subscriber, but you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. I have a lot more stuff planned for the future as far as tutorials, live streams, plane spotting videos, photo editing tutorials. If it's anything related to aviation and the flight simming world, I'm going to try to get that content out there as best as I can. So please think about subscribing if you're not already a channel subscriber. Let's go ahead and get started. So here we are sitting at a very empty McNamara terminal here at Detroit Metropolitan Airport up here in my home state of Michigan. And as you can see, there's no air traffic, there's no air traffic control, really not a lot of anything going on here at the moment in the flight simulator. And as a flight sim pilot with over 20 years flying around in the simulated world, I often get asked about my experience with the default air traffic control in both Flight Simulator 2004 and in FSX. And to be honest, I'm really not a huge fan of either. At best, the default ATC is unrealistic, and around heavy, dense airports with a lot of AI traffic flying around, it can be very confusing and, quite frankly, downright annoying. If you are anything like me at all, you have probably listened to enough actual air traffic control audio to know that the artificial intelligence air traffic control within the flight simulators is the most unrealistic thing that you've never heard. They do not follow departure or arrival procedures. Taxiing is not anything like you experience in real life at any given airport. And they also don't follow any of the airways that real-life pilots follow when they're actually in the air flying. Also, on the ground at any busy airport, there can be so much AI traffic around, it causes delays that can leave you sitting on a taxiway waiting to take off, or leave you sitting at a hold short point at a runway waiting for a dozen arriving aircraft to land so you can cross the active runway and taxi to the gate. In real life, a tower controller would see that there's a gap between arrivals and would just direct holding aircraft across active runways and around other aircraft that are taxiing on the ground. It just simply is not like that in FS 2004 and FSX. To be honest, FSX and FS 2004 simply do not have the capability for anything but just basic, annoying air traffic control services. That is why several years ago I joined the VATSIM network. VATSIM is a community of over 140,000 virtual pilots and many others who volunteer to provide live air traffic control services, whether it's ATIS, ground, tower, approach, departure at large metropolitan airports, to air traffic control centers around the world, and even oceanic services for transatlantic and transpacific pilots who love to fly those long-haul international flights. VATSIM is a absolute, totally free service for flight sim pilots. Takes no more than 5 minutes to create a user account. If you're brand new to flight simming, I would not recommend flying online on the network until you have a pretty good understanding of how to use charts, procedures, stuff like that. That's all related to flying. One thing you can definitely do, however, is go ahead and create a VATSIM account, download the clients that I'm about to show you, and then just log in, listen for a while. Listen to the actual air traffic controllers as they're directing ground traffic, air traffic around the area, and get a feel for what you're going to be getting yourself into. Once you've done all that and feel like that you want to actually fly with live air traffic control, then go ahead and jump in and have a great time with fellow simulator pilots. To get started creating an account on VATSIM, you just simply want to go to https://vatsim.net. I'll put a link in the description below, and basically pull up the website, click on the join button. It'll take you to this page. Please make sure that you read all of this. First name, last name, email, choose a password, age, country of residence, your state or province, password reminder, select a region that you want to fly in, whether it's the Americas, Asia Pacific, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and then select a division based on your region. So for example, I am in the Americas, so use the drop-down box. I'm going to choose United States. Read the code of regulations, the code of conduct, and the user agreement. Hit the checkbox and go ahead and register. You'll get an email shortly thereafter asking you to verify your email address, and then you'll get another email from VATSIM welcoming you to the network, and it'll give you your pilot ID and other pertinent login information. Once you have verified all of your information, you'll click on the link in the email that'll bring you to this page, and you just simply log in, put in your client ID and your password, and it brings you to the main VATSIM page, which is basically my.vatsim.net. And this is your personal page. And here you have a dashboard that shows you how to get started, different events, indicators, community forum, statistics center, where you can check and see how many hours you have flying on the network. If you're ever interested in wanting to actually join VATSIM as a air traffic controller or anything like that, they have a vacancies page. When you get around to flying, they have a flight planning section where you file your flight plan. You can either file it here online on the website, or you can do it in the vPilot client that I'm going to show you here in just a little bit. You can check satellite imagery, weather charts, airport charts. You have the VATSIM AIP, which tells you the most popular airports, all of the VATSIM policies, different resources, which is where you're going to find the pilot client, and if you are a air traffic controller on the VATSIM network, the controller clients. Virtual airlines have their own page, and they have a very large partner list. So if you fly for a virtual airline, you can likely fly with other people within your virtual pilot network. There's a membership help area. You can actually get pilot training if you want to learn a little bit more about flight simming and flying in general. They actually have training. There's a learning center, roster. You can even take exams and get qualifications and stuff like that as you go along and learn stuff. Going back up to the resources section, we're going to go ahead and download the vPilot client, which is what you're going to need to log on to the VATSIM network itself. It will allow you to see other aircraft within Flight Simulator. These are actual virtual pilots who are flying. You'll actually see them and their aircraft on the ground or in the air. vPilot also serves as the communications gateway between you, the pilot, and the air traffic controllers who are going to guide you through the virtual skies. So click on Pilot Clients, and here's the approved software section. We're going to download vPilot for FSX, Prepared, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you're an X-plane pilot, then you're going to download xPilot. Swift is another pilot client, but it's a little bit more complicated and hard to configure, so vPilot is really the go-to for most people. So you're going to go ahead and click the link for vPilot. It's going to open up the page. I'll go ahead and link this in the description below as well. And you're just going to go ahead and click download. You're going to download the current stable client, which was released March 25th of this year, and it's client 3.5.2. Going to go ahead and download that. And if you're like me and you have Windows 11, you're going to have to report that file as safe, do all the Microsoft stuff. And once you have downloaded it, go ahead and double click it, follow the installation instructions, and it will put an icon on your desktop. And what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and double click that. vPilot's going to open. Since I already have Microsoft Flight Simulator running down here, it's going to show that I'm connected here. What you want to do first thing is go to the settings, and you're going to enter this information before you even first log in. So you're going to put in your VATSIM ID, your password, your name, your home airport, and just choose a VATSIM server, and mine's set for automatic. Here on the left-hand side, you've got several settings. You have notifications, and you can check or uncheck these however you want to. I keep these all checked. This one I uncheck because it'll actually flash text messages into the flight simulator, which can be kind of annoying. Fonts, you can adjust the fonts for within the program right here. Audio, you're going to tell it your microphone device and your speaker device. I recommend that you keep this box checked. If you uncheck it, while you do get realistic audio effects, sometimes you get some really extremely loud noise that kind of elevates in level, and it can actually blow your eardrums out. So I just keep it disabled. HF background noise, go ahead and keep that checked because you're likely not going to use the HF function of the vPilot. Then just go here and adjust your output volume and your microphone volume and just click apply. Next section is going to be push to talk. And with this, I have one of the buttons on my SciTech flight yoke set up, and it's the red click button on the underside of the left-hand yoke handle, and I have that set as my COM button. But set up yours however you want to, whether it is a key on the keyboard or another switch or something on your yoke or any of your panels. Okay, model matching is what vPilot uses to show you the simulated aircraft around you, and you're going to do an initial scan And when you do the initial scan, it'll look in your flight simulator folder for all the AI aircraft that you have on there. I use Ultimate Traffic Live, so it pulls 1174 AI models off of Ultimate Traffic and injects them into my flight simulator environment. Depending on where you're flying, there might not be a suitable model match for an aircraft that might be flying near you or on the ground, so it just chooses one randomly. In this case, any aircraft it doesn't recognize shows me an Airbus A321. You can actually change that. You can do an advanced search where you can look at different locations for AI traffic. Custom rules, if you have any custom rules or anything like that, you can set them in here. If you're a Microsoft Flight Simulator user, it's basically the same thing. Performance, go ahead and keep these where they are. I keep mine at don't display traffic beyond 60 nautical miles, even though they're going to be hard to see at that distance anyways. Maximum aircraft to display, you can change that if you want to. If you have a graphics card that's not the best in the world and you're at a busy airport, you are probably going to task your graphics card if it's showing every single aircraft on the ground, so you can adjust that however you want just to show 10 aircraft close to you, but you want to try, if you're at a fairly busy airport, to keep it at a reasonable number so you're not interfering with other aircraft on the ground, or you taxi into somebody, etc. Updates, you'd automatically check for vPilot updates here, and then miscellaneous. I keep these unchecked, and then basically just hit apply and click OK, and you're all configured and ready to go. So once you get your vPilot all configured, the best thing that I can tell you to do is to go ahead and log on to the VATSIM network, find an airport that has some live air traffic control services going on at that time, and I'll show you that on the next client. But go ahead and log on and just simply do a radio check just to make sure that you have the client and everything configured okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move my vPilot over to another screen real quick, and I'm going to check and see who's online through the VAT-Spy program, and then I'm going to go ahead and spawn at an airport where there's live ATC, and we'll do a quick radio check so you can see how that sounds. So I went and checked on VAT-Spy, and I see that we've got air traffic control here at Atlanta Airport, which happens to be my home airport. So I've gone ahead and respawned over here. Now I'm going to show you how to go ahead and actually log on to the client. We'll do a quick radio check. I'll show you a few more of the features that vPilot injects into the flight simulator itself. So let's go ahead and bring up vPilot. And we're going to set our transponder to 1200. Don't have to worry about the altimeter. And we will go ahead and connect. And this is where you're going to put your aircraft call sign and your aircraft type. And it's very easy to do. Since I'm Delta Airlines, it's going to be Delta Airlines 555. Aircraft type is going to be a Boeing 752 because that's what I'm currently flying. So you just type Boeing 75 and it's Boeing 757-200. Go ahead and click that. Don't worry about checking anything here. That's not applicable. Click connect. And it's going to connect to the network. And you're going to see this section here populate. And currently we have an ATIS frequency for arrival and departure. We have Atlanta Towers online, Atlanta Approach is online, which also acts as departure, and we have Atlanta Center. And we'll go ahead and lower that for a second. And if you're outside the aircraft and you scroll around, See if there's any other aircraft on the ground. There's one taxiing out right now. We have a Delta, looks like a, not sure if that's a 7.5 or a, looks like a 757 parked at that gate. Got a 737 next to us. And I'm sure there's other aircraft out here across the airport. Let's go ahead and do a quick radio check so you can make sure that your client is configured okay and you can receive and send out voice communications. So we'll bring the client back up, and we're going to be talking to Atlanta Tower because they're the lowest level air traffic control. And we're going to tune the radio in to 119.10. And we're going to go ahead and switch over.
Scenery, so I don't have Lima Charlie. I have to go to Mike.
Mark 1410. All right, can you do Mike and Lima Charlie?
Yeah, Mike and Lima Charlie. Yes, no problem.
Okay, American 1410, Renee T78 taxi via Mike and Lima Charlie, and you can join Mike on Juliet.
And copy. That's what I'm doing right now. American 1410.
But FSX, or is it something else?
Well, this is prepared. I used to have scenery put on that was better than the default, but it was having problems with it.
So as you can see, we're receiving okay.
American 245, you're ready, pushback, we are ready for taxi.
Alright, T45 Atlanta Tower, how we doing? Runway T78 taxi via Lima and Lima Charlie.
Lima Charlie to American 245.
Got a 1440, give it to American out of ramp 5.
I'll give away to the American at ramp 5, 1440.
So let's go ahead and do our radio check real quick. I'm going to go ahead and lower that. Good evening, Atlanta Tower, Atlanta 555 radio check.
Delta 555 Atlanta Tower, how we doing? You're loud and clear.
And you're loud and clear as well. Doing great. How are you tonight?
Good, good. Living life.
Amen to that. So as you can see, we've done a successful radio check. Let's go ahead and tune back out of here so we don't have air traffic control interrupting us. But let me go ahead and show you some of the other features that vPilot can actually put into your flight sim client. So if you're on here and you right click, let me try that again here. There we go. If you right click and go to air traffic, this is all the air traffic currently within your immediate area, and you can go and click on any of those and see them in flight. So this is supposed to be a Delta A321, but since I don't have that model in Ultimate Traffic Live, it's just going to show me a generic A321. If I go back and click out and click on the 747, same thing. Doesn't have that particular model, so it just shows me a generic 747-400. And here we have an American A319. And over here we've got Southwest 737-700. And we have a Delta Airlines flight. Looks like he's coming in on the approach, and you can actually follow the other pilots while they're flying or taxiing around and stuff like that. And then just click back to your regular cockpit view to get back out of that. So that's one of the really cool features of vPilot. So let's go ahead and close out of all of this, and I'm going to show you the VAT-Spy client and show you what it does specifically, and then we'll go ahead and finish up the video. So I've go ahead and shut down the vPilot client because we won't be using that anymore, but I'm going to show you how to download and install VAT-Spy. So It's not a mandatory program to have. I just find it very helpful when planning out my flights to see which air traffic control centers are actually live and online, because I really prefer to have air traffic control when I'm flying, so I tend to kind of check it when I'm doing my flight planning. VATSPy.rosscarlson.dev. I'll put a link in the description for that. And just basically tells you it's a simple application that allows you to view current ATC staffing and traffic levels on the VATSIM network. And it's modeled after ServInfo. And just a few other details about that, some screenshots, and basically go and download it. Download the installer. And Windows 11 is going to do this little trick to me again, so I won't show you the actual install, but basically run the installer program, follow the instructions, make sure that you do have version 4.7 of Microsoft.NET Framework installed on your computer for it to work. It'll deposit a icon on the desktop, just double click it, VAT-Spy will open up, and there you go. Here's a map of the Atlanta Air Traffic Control Center. And Indianapolis Center happens to be online right now. Miami Center, Fort Worth, Albuquerque. Usually LA Center is online, but they're not. Use your mouse scroll wheel to scroll in and out on the map. So here across the US, you can see that we have 6 air traffic control centers currently operating. Every one of these little icons here is an actual pilot flying live on VATSIM. And you hover it over it, and it gives you the name of the pilot, their home airport. This particular person is flying from Midland International, KMAF, into YYC, so he's flying into Calgary. Gives you his altitude, his ground speed. If you go and you see the 4-letter identifier for an airport, you can hover over it and you can see how many pilots are flying in or out. And if you click on this, it tells you the air traffic control center that it's associated with. So in this case, if we scroll down to Atlanta, Simon Heck is running Atlanta Center tonight. He's really good. Next to it is Zach. He's the approach and departure guy. And Tower is Aaron. That's who we talked to do the radio check. And you can scroll back out and you get a whole entire world view. Looks like we have some areas down in Central America and Northern South America online. And Honolulu Center is on. And scrolling around the map, we've got Accra Center, Kano Center, nobody up in Europe right now, and nobody in Asia. And we actually have Melbourne Alice Springs online right now. So that gives you an idea of what centers are online and all the pilots that are flying. Here's a British Airways 985 flying from San Francisco to Honolulu. Here's FedEx 9088 flying from Narita to Anchorage. And United 114 flying from Tahiti to San Francisco. So it literally shows all the pilots online. Pilots do not appear on VAT-Spy until they're actually airborne, so you don't get cluttered with all the ground traffic. Up at the top, you have some tabs that you can scroll through. This tells you all the controllers that are online and which position that they're on. You have people who are observers who are just sitting and just kind of watching the action as it happens. Over here you have the Flights tab. This shows all the pilots that are currently in the air flying, who have filed a flight plan but haven't departed, and actually shows aircraft that have already arrived but have not logged off yet. Country details just kind of shows you some stuff for the US, since that's the area I fly around in. And this is for Boston. Airport details about Boston. You can set up some filtered details, and then the network servers for VATSIM, and shows you the number of users that are logged in. And right now, Canada has 170, followed by the USA West server. And then because the East Coast of the US is so densely flown, they have 2 servers for the East Coast. Few people logged on in the UK, and 2 servers for Germany. And that's about it. That's all I can really show you about VAT-Spy, other than it's just a very valuable tool for flight planning if you want to make sure that you are flying in an area that has ATC. And trust me, it makes a huge difference having actual live knowledgeable ATC directing you around than that really bad default ATC that's in FS 2004 and FSX. So that's going to do it for this video. I really appreciate you so very much. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Please make a comment, like, share this video with others who you think might benefit from it. This is Michael with the Sky's the Limit Aviation channel, wishing you a great evening. Please have a great, safe week, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care now. Bye-bye.